Valley Center City Council meeting for February 21st, 2023 is now in session. Roll call.
Mayor Cicerilla,
Here.
Councilmember Stam,
Here.
Councilmember Evans, Councilmember Bass,
Here.
Councilmember Anderson, Councilmember Gregory,
Here.
Councilmember Kerstetter,
Here.
Councilmember Wilson,
Here.
Councilmember Colbert.
Here.
All right, please rise for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening. My name is Troy Price. I represent the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Thank you for this opportunity. Our Father in heaven, we come before thee at the opening of this meeting. We are grateful unto thee, Heavenly Father, for this opportunity to communicate and to share the needs of our community. We're grateful for our mayor and for our city council, for all that they do. We ask thy blessings upon them, that they may make good decisions, that they may always have the better interest of the people of this community in their hearts. Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this beautiful community, for the opportunities that we have here, for the blessings we have to serve here and enjoy this area. Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the growth that has come to this community and the opportunities and blessings it gives us. Please bless us this night to have a good spirit of community, a good spirit of love and togetherness. Bless us to be united in our decisions. Bless us to remember that we represent you and we represent this community and we represent the people. And let us do what is right for them. And we say this in the name of our Savior, even Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or any discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Item 6, administration agenda, city council meeting minutes of February 7th, 2023.
Motion to approve the minutes of the February 7th, 2023 regular council meeting as presented. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we have no presentations or proclamations. So at this time, we will open up the public forum, which is a time for anybody here in the audience that would like to speak to something that is not on the agenda. Seeing none, we have no appointments. So we'll move right along to old business. Item A, ordinance 1385-23, rezoning in Arbor Valley Edition. Are you going to say anything? Or you just...
Normally I don't, but if anyone has any questions or comments, again, this is the second reading for the Arbor Valley subdivision rezoning from RR1 to R1B.
Council?
Motion to approve ordinance 1385-23, rezoning property in the Arbor Valley Edition for second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. All opposed? Oh, never mind. Motion carries. All right. Item B, ordinance 1386-23, rezoning in Marquez Acres Edition.
Again, the second reading for this rezoning ordinance for Marquez Acres.
Motion. No, go ahead. You started. Motion to approve ordinance 1386-23, rezoning property in Marquez Acres Edition for second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Move on to new business. Item A, approval of upgrade to traffic controls at 5th and Meridian. Mr. Eggleston.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. So it was discovered over the last couple of years that we've been having several troubles with the traffic signals at Fifth and Meridian. We all know this is a pretty busy intersection. I regret that I don't have an actual number of calls we've had, but there's been several times. Sometimes we can go out and just reset them. Sometimes we have to call support out. One of these times they come out and told us that the control mechanism for these traffic lights are obsolete. So one of these times when this thing goes down, we're going to be down. That's not an intersection we want down. So if you'll see in your council packet, we gathered several quotes for the equipment needed and 3 different quotes for the installation of that equipment. And we are requesting approval of the quote for the equipment from Gady Sales Company for $14,992, along with the installation by Phillips Southern Electric Company for $6,995 for a total project cost not to exceed $21,987.
Councilmember Kerstetter has a question.
A couple of questions. First one is, do we know how old this system is? Or how old?
Sorry, I don't
Okay.
have that.
It seems like-
It was added when the Fifth Street, that section of Fifth Street was redone, and that was just right. I was gonna say just before it just finished before I moved in, and I moved in 02.
Okay. All right. So
So
that,
this includes the sight mechanism that recognizes cars coming up for the light to change. It includes all the computer mechanism to control the timing and everything.
okay. So it includes everything. I thought I read in one of their quotes, which I might have read the wrong one, that we had to provide some kind of cameras.
Not with
Okay.
these.
Okay.
I got you cleared this time. Councilmember Stan.
Do our signals have the preemption on it for the fire trucks and ambulances?
You stumped me on that one.
No, I know the answer. No, the answer to that is no.
Okay, thank you.
Well, the new ones? The new ones have that?
Not that I have in my documentation here.
All right.
I do just want to make some comments on that. I mean, that is the main intersection I use to get in and out of my neighborhood, obviously. But there has been multiple times where I've seen that just not working right. I mean, and learning through my times of questioning, I've learned what the default time is. So when I'm sitting there, I watch the clock to see if it's fall back into default times. And it does that quite a bit. And I know, was it last year that they were out? I think it was after a power failure and it came back up, but they still didn't come back online or something. And I know we've had problems with them. So I think,
Pleasure of actually being part of going out there and putting a 4-way stop and mail at that intersection.
yeah.
That ain't fun.
No. So that's just my 2 cents. I think it's needed. So, and it is 22 years old. So
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I had to just chime in real quick on Councilmember Kerstedter's question there. A lot of times you see those devices used, when you have multiple stoplights on a really busy, corridor in the community. If you have multiple stoplights that are right kind of
Like-
down the line,
like
from each other.
driving down Kellogg or Douglas.
Yep.
Talking the emergency light deal?
Emergency lights,
Okay,
yeah.
thank
And
you.
so you want to trigger those so those flash as you're moving through
Okay.
the intersections and alert the drivers of emergency vehicles coming. In this case, since this is just it's isolated, it's by itself. You really don't need to have that. There isn't a code that requires it.
Okay.
And so that would be a little different if there was another stoplight. 300-400 feet up. Like if there's one in Abilene, then we probably would have that system. So
That makes sense. Okay.
just wanted to touch on that real quick for you. That's all.
And we have, sorry,
Go ahead.
we have the money for this in that line item that you're using. Okay. That was just, somebody said.
That was actually, I was going to wait for your first question.
Oh.
Let's see, just to make
Yeah.
sure. So, all right. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve upgrade to traffic signals at Fifth and Meridian, accept quote from Gady Sales Company Incorporated for $14,992, along with the installation by Phillips Southern Electric Company for $6,995 for a total project not to exceed $21,987.
Second.
Councilmember Kerstetter has another question.
Sorry. How soon will they get it started?
I'll let them know if they're approved
Tomorrow and,
tomorrow.
all right,
I
just,
don't know if they're on the turnaround. I don't have that.
okay, just curious is,
The good thing is Gady's is local and so is Phillips.
oh, cool. Yeah,
Gady's is a Wichita company and so is Phillips.
cool. Thank you.
Right there, it says.
Oh, delivery, 30 to 90 days.
Oh, perfect.
There you go. We do have it.
All right. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. I know you're not going anywhere. Item B, approval of purchase of Cub Cadet slope mower.
Okay, hello again. Now I'm going to ask you to remember back into that year of 2020, back when we came to you and we were evaluating all of our ditch mowing and right-of-way mowing and looking at all the different steep slopes we had in our equipment. And we came to you and came to determination that this Cub Cadet 972 was a good piece of equipment for our slopes. Well, since then, we have come to the determination in the budget prep time for the 2023 budget that we were in need of another mower. We thought it would behoove us to look into yet another slope rated mower. You approved the money, $22,000 for the purchase of this mower for the 2023 budget. We've went out and received a quote from Trailers and More, along with we went in and looked into Sourcewell, which is a contract bidding. So they go out and do their own contract RFPs, just like estate contracts, and there's a agreement with Cub Cadet for all government purchasers for a 20% discount off of MSRP. So I requested several quotes, but they wouldn't give them to me because they just said, well, we can only give you the same. So with that, we are requesting approval of the purchase of a Cub Cadet Pro Z 972 SDL mower from Trailers and More for the not to exceed price of $19,694.
Questions? Councilmember Wilson.
Rodney, do you know, is there going to be any special training with this piece of equipment? I noticed they have the setup and all that figured into the pricing, but is there going to be any, I'm not that familiar with a slope mower like
Exactly the
this.
same model that we have.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
we do have some in-house trainings that we go through on our equipment that everybody goes through on our mowers. But yes, it's basically the exact same piece of equipment that we have now, just a newer model.
Perfect. Thank you.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
So we purchased the other one 2 years ago. Are we anticipating this one to last at least 2 more years, or the first one, excuse me? So I'm just thinking of,
I hope it lasts a lot longer than 2 more years.
No.
no, I understand that. I'm just curious of how soon we'll have to replace the first one as far as how much it's getting used and stuff like
When
that.
we look at, when we looked at the equipment replacement schedule that was put together way back in 2014 and really kind of what that grade of equipment, we looked at probably looking at replacing those about every 8 years.
Okay.
8 to 10 years.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, I don't look for us to be looking to replace that piece of equipment for some time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Motion to approve purchase of a Cub Cadet Pro Z 972 SDL mower from Trailers and More for the not to exceed price of $19,694.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. Item C, approval of Main Street Valley Center allocation.
Good evening again. I am here to welcome our Main Street Valley Center board president, Chris Strunk, who will be making the annual request. Again, this was already approved with the 2023 budget, but I'll turn the time over to Chris to share the formal request.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Again, my name is Chris Strunk and president of the Main Street Valley Center Board, and we're starting our 8th year. Time's flying by real fast. So here once again to thank you for your support of Main Street and our vision for downtown and what we're trying to do down there. and also to request your continued funding support for 2023 of $10,000. So just wanted to provide a real quick recap. I believe you have this in your packet. Just of what we did in 2022. One of the biggest things that happened for us was our organization achieved designation status with state organization and with national and Main Street America. And what that means to us is we have access to resources and expertise on a different level than we can get around here locally, and it's already paid off for us. We had both the state and national folks in for a 2-day workshop, and they got us set some goals and really got us moving in the right direction after 7 years. But it's really helped us to kind of focus in on what we're doing, and we're really excited about where that's going to take us. A lot of hard work on Ryan's part to get that process going. So a couple of projects we have going on, or that we did in 2022. I'll just highlight them here for you. We did our Main Street Enhancement Grant Program. We continued it. They were matching grants for facade improvements for our downtown buildings. And there was a paint project at GS Memory Maker building, a new sign at Le Venue, and patio work at Main Street Coffee that we helped support. We also contributed some additional funds to Main Street Coffee to purchase some patio furniture out to get their outdoor space up and running. And it's a really neat area right over there. We want to help utilize it as much as we can. We also do a planter. We have those planters along Main Street that we do a program with the businesses along there to give them prizes for people that upkeep their that plant live flowers, sometimes live flowers, and so we get one of the most beautiful pots was all fake one year, and we thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, so we do that. We also maintain the rights of way downtown, keep the sidewalks free of weeds and that type of thing. And we will continue with we continued with the Veterans Banner Project. If you notice, during the summer months, the veterans banners are hanging. Our local veterans are their banners are hanging up on Main Street. We're running out of light posts, I think, so we're gonna have to start down Meridian. So we also we did a movie on Main Street event this year, which was a lot of fun. And then we introduced a farmers market that was held on the first and third Thursday of the month over at Main and Ash on the empty lot over there. We also hosted Hometown Christmas, which a lot of you were involved in, and we appreciated all the input on that. That was a lot of fun down here. And as Main Street, we know that there are other events going on that aren't necessarily organized by us. So we contributed to them either financially or through volunteer work. And some of those include Fall Fest and Trick or Treat Street and Lions Club Car Show. So we want to keep that going. So one of the statistics that Ryan brings up is every year is sort of where our private investment in our downtown area, how much it compares to the investment that you have in Main Street. And it was $1. So for every $1 of the city's investment in what we're doing, there's been $10 in private investment on Main Street in 2022. So we're excited about those numbers. So in 2023, just a real quick glimpse, we want to continue to do the enhancement grant program, set aside some money for that. We're also going to start a Rise and Shine morning coffee and conversation event that we're going to try to do to promote business-to-business meeting and promotion. We're also going to continue the lawn and sidewalk and downtown planners program, Veterans Banner program. We're going to continue to do that. And then, of course, one of the biggest things we're doing, and you might have seen people working downtown starting last Monday, is we're going to light up Valley Center. And literally, we have a lighting project that's been a partnership with us, the city, the Chamber of Commerce, and we're going to have they're currently on a project right now to permanently install lighting along the top edges of all the buildings in the 100, 200 block of West Main and extending on North Park, and also hitting the City Hall as well. So we're excited about that. We raised all the money with Brent's help. We got private donations to support that, and we just cleared our goal to get that done. We just cleared it this week. So we're pretty excited about that. We can't wait to flip the switch. It'll be all be LED lights and different colors, different patterns, and eventually set to music. And I mean, it'll be a lot of fun. We'll have a great time. No green, no. We've already decided no green. So we're excited about that. So keep as you come through here, you'll be seeing some more work over the next probably about two or 3 weeks. Hopefully they'll be able to get that done, but they're working hard to get it going. So we're excited about that. We're going to continue to we're going to do another movie night. We're going to do Home to Home Christmas and continue to support all the things that the Lions Club and Chamber of Commerce do. And then we're also going to do a bigger and better farmers market. And that's going to start on May 4th and run through the fall. So we're excited about all those things, and we really appreciate your support. Gina Gregory is our your representative on our board, and we appreciate all the work she's done and the input she's had there. So I would have any questions you have for me. If not, I would appreciate your support.
I would just want to say thank you. I mean, I know how hard you guys have worked, especially Ryan and you, Chris, together. It's definitely made a change in the appearance and the feel of the downtown area. There's one problem I have, though. For the tree lighting, can we ask Santa not to bring the weather with him next year? For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, it was gorgeous until about 7 o'clock, and the wind shifted, and it became wicked cold, wicked quick. So, but yes, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilmember Stam.
I just want to reiterate what the mayor said. I want to thank everyone for working on this. I think we have something unique here, because there's not the only other community I can think of, take Wichita out of it, has a downtown would be Mulvane. And you have some towns that want to try to build a downtown. You can't recreate that. That's unique. It's old. It's got history, and you can't put a price on that.
We appreciate your seeing the same vision, sharing it with us.
Anybody else?
Motion to approve the fiscal year 2023 allocation for Main Street Valley Center in the amount of $10,000.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. Item D, approval of Ford Street improvements change order.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I have Riley Schmitz here with us. He is a team lead in our Municipal Transportation Division at PEC. Riley is a proud resident of Valley Center and the project manager on the Ford and Meridian projects here in town. We have agenda items for both projects tonight, so I'll kind of turn it over to him.
Evening, everybody. First item on the agenda tonight is for the Ford Street change order. This is coming from Wildcat. There's two different elements associated with it. The first being an additional cost for widening of a concrete approach. This is for an approach that connects the new North Seneca leg to the old North Seneca leg. We had a property owner that was concerned about how that was going to line up with his driveway, and per the city staff request, Wildcat was able to put together the associated cost for that additional widening for $1,175.20. The second element of the change order is for an additional 41 days to the contract. As you can see on the letter that's attached from Wildcat, this is for accommodation of school bus entry and post office or postal service, in addition to what was anticipated prior to the project. So with that, I'll take questions on the change order.
Council? Member Kerstetter.
So where does this push our completion date for Ford Street?
So it's hard to see on the schedule that's attached, but it's
It's true.
towards late July. mid to late July is
Late July?
Mhm.
Okay. Because I had somebody asking today, I'm like, July, I think. But now we're
Guessed right. Yeah.
late. Well, I was thinking early July. I was glad I didn't say that, but now we're late July.
Yeah.
That's,
And it was because the discussion about Prairie Lakes, or was it Prairie Lakes, or was it, I know you mentioned the mailboxes
Prairie Lakes.
issue, but the Prairie Lakes issues with the buses and all that stuff. So there was kind of an adjustment in the way they had to work through that, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
Council?
Motion to approve Ford Street change order number 3 in the amount of $1,175.20.
second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
We don't have to say anything about the
Number
The
timeline. For our motion, we don't have to comment about the
No.
timeline.
Approving the change
The change
You're
order.
approving the whole change order, yeah.
Perfect. Just double checking.
Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. And we will move on to item E, approval of agreement with PEC for Meridian Avenue.
Right, second item I'm here to present is the supplemental agreement for the Meridian Improvement Project. This is for additional services requested by city staff, including water line design services. Through our design, we were able to find a conflict down at the roundabout at 69th and Meridian. They'll need an adjustment there. And then there's an additional water line between 2nd and 5th Street, 2nd and 5th, that is under existing pavement, and it's an old material. It really is for the city's benefit for future maintenance, and to make sure you don't have an old line underneath brand new pavement. So that's being provided here for design services. And then roadway elements include designing the entrance into the builder's first source, making sure that aligns with Ford Street, so you got a better turn radius there for trucks. That also will provide access, a secondary access for the bank on the backside. With that, we have to fill in the ditch in front of the bank to take care of some of the drainage aspects there. This will include design services of a large manhole to connect structures that are needed. In addition, it includes BNSF coordination, and coordination of several of the other items listed here.
Well, there goes the whole project right there.
Yeah.
We were good up until you said BNSF. So.
Yeah. No, that's been going well actually so far.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, knock on wood somewhere. It's fake maybe. But, potholing needs, we've been able to identify several that are needed for existing utilities. There's some large oil pipelines and gas lines that are sitting out there that they're telling us you better make sure that they're deep enough before you go start digging over the top of them. Also, some potholing on top of the existing water lines to make sure we're connecting in the right elevations and locations. Survey needs include surveying that area, getting to topographic survey of the area where the builder's first source entrance is, adding that free right turn movement on the roundabout and putting that island between the roundabout and that free right pushed our limits a little further east than we anticipated. So there's additional survey needs there. And then also staking of the pothole locations and collecting depth information afterwards. With that, I'll open it up to questions again.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
So with respect to that roundabout, if we didn't have that going in, would there be these extra surveying activities?
No, not at that location anyways.
What about if we had a light going in or anything like that going in instead?
A light?
A light, yeah.
No, not at that location. The free right to make sure that there's enough space to allow people to yield and see oncoming traffic. It pushes that transition and that taper further to the east. So
With the roundabout is what.
with the roundabout.
So
correct.
still in favor of nixing the roundabout, but I'm in the minority on that one, I know. As far as up here.
That's what matters. Councilmember Stam.
So I was going to just, mention briefly, do recall and remember, that will be a joint partnership between Sedgwick County and the city of Valley Center with that intersection. That intersection is 100% in the county. And so making sure that you take that into consideration. We are still finalizing now with our new commissioner, Mr. Ryan Beatty, the final agreements in place. Like Riley had mentioned, it does include that extension, that free right onto 69th Street. 69th Street is also in the county. And so, working with them on figuring out, who's going to take over what ownership in the long run. I know that the county is really looking at trying to clean up some of those areas that are kind of islands of sections of right of way that are entirely in the county, but right adjacent to city limits. And so all those bargaining chips will absolutely be on the table when we do discuss the roundabout. That is going to be roughly $800 and some $1,000 towards the overall project. So
Doesn't mean I have to like it.
correct.
Did you?
Is there still plans to do a right turn lane for the semis going into the propane place, whatever you want to call it?
So we had a meeting with them here recently. The concerns they had were their existing pipelines are just south of that entrance, and they have an easement, and they don't believe their staff down in Tulsa will be too thrilled about widening the roadway over the top of their line. In addition, they have some grade change there on that entrance that they're saying today they have concerns about it breaking their trailers and everything else. So from that, we're still going to accommodate by changing the approach into their entrance. It's more of a flare taper than it is a full right turn lane. But yeah, we were through that conversation. I think the turn lane wasn't benefiting them as much as we thought it could.
I knew it was brought up sometime through the discussion, but I never heard no more about it.
Mhm.
Okay.
And they're going to have to move the gate and everything there as well. Yeah. Yep.
Councilmember Gregory.
Did I understand that you're going to make a change to the north entrance at Builder's Warehouse?
At
Builder's First Source?
Yes, we're going where the existing one is. We're going to move that north, so it's lined up with the intersection across.
77th Street.
Correct.
You know, I think we talked about that
We
a
have.
long time ago.
We did, and we offered that option to the previous owner who said the previous owner did not want to have his business disturbed while that was happening. If I remember correctly, how that conversation, and this was a while back.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So, and I did notice a whole flock of, they're not Kansas Gas anymore, but walking the street the other day.
Yeah, that's one thing to mention too. You will start seeing a lot of utility relocations happening. The big one is going to be Kansas Gas up here on the north side from Main to Fifth.
Yep, that's where they were walking.
They're going to relocate their facilities so they're on the west right-of-way line essentially and clear and out of the way of everything else. But that'll be a big effort.
Anybody else? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion of approval for the agreement with BEC for design and survey services on Meridian in an amount not to exceed $84,000, authorized mayor to sign.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Is there further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Item F, year-end 2022 financial review. Mr. Smith.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll make this brief here. This first section here is the fourth quarter review. It goes over each department. I'm not going to say and read it word for word, but all of our accomplishments we made in the fourth quarter of 2022, mainly revolving around the developments going on in town and water, sewer, streets, infrastructure, and Chief Newman's last quarterly report, how we saw an overall reduction in crime throughout the community throughout the year there. We did have a new update for our app usage. We are over that 1,000 download point. I think now we're 1,373-ish downloads right there. So fantastic. The line from Mr. Clark there. Green development, we saw the updates with Cedar Ridge, Arbor Valley, Parks Public Buildings, working on the city entryway sign, redoing the park benches out in the parks. Public safety, always involved in the community with the Fall Festival events, Trick or Treat Main Street, all those good deals. Overall for the year, we did very well when it comes to each of our funds. We only had a few funds that did go negative, and those were planned. The Building Equipment Reserve Fund, right here, this is what we paid for the roof repair at Public Safety and some HVAC units out of in 2022, and that was budgeted to do that. Fleet Management Fund, we got a few more vehicles delivered from Enterprise this year, so that threw that off just a little bit, but we are good there. Other than that, everything else pretty much ended up positive. And then you see the water and sewer combined operating reserve funds down there at the bottom. The water did go down about 400,000, but that was because we went ahead and paid for that water tower rehab in cash. That way we didn't have to bond it and increase our debt for years to come with the water treatment plant coming up. So other than that, I think general fund did really well. Our revenues came in great. Sales tax came in really high this year. I think that's due to the inflation and everything like that. We budgeted around 600,000, came in around 800,000. So this increase in revenue did help us offset those mid-year increases in personnel pay and all the things that we did around July. Other than that, everything came in pretty much right at budget. Revenues to expenditure wise, a whole lot of variance, especially in the enterprise funds. Water, we ended up with 29 cents extra in the operating funds, so came in right there. Special revenue funds, once again, pretty straightforward there. Just a quick overcap of our debt. So any other questions there? Once again, these are unaudited. We do have our audit scheduled for the end of March, and then we'll do another full report on our audited financials.
Questions? Councilmember Gregory.
I don't have a question. I just want to thank you for doing such a phenomenal job. I really appreciate your work.
Appreciate it.
Motion to accept and file 2022 year-end financial review report.
Second.
A motion and a second to review and file. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item G, Resolution 730-23, Clearwave Fiber Right-of-Way Agreement.
Good evening once again. Tonight, we're going to talk about allowing a new high-speed fiber internet provider to bring service into our community. As you are probably aware, two major telecommunication companies, Cox and AT&T, currently provide internet service to various sections of Valley Center. Along with these two companies, T-Mobile and other companies are offering internet services via over-the-air transmission. With multiple options already on the table, you may be asking yourself, why we need to allow another internet provider access to our community? Allow me to take you on a brief journey back in time. Just over 100 years ago, in 1920, no, the internet did not exist. But in 1920, the United States Census Bureau determined that only 35% of American households had electricity. By the end of that decade, this number had jumped to nearly 70%. As stated in an article by the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, Virginia, electricity was initially a novelty for the rich, but utility companies soon discovered ways to take advantage of economies of scale in power generation and distribution, making it more affordable and accessible. Electricity transformed society in countless ways during the 20th century, and just as electricity changed the way people lived, worked, and played, then the internet has transformed how we live our daily lives now in 2023. Access to affordable, reliable, high-speed internet service is essential for our residents and businesses to thrive in today's world. A regular concern that city staff hear from both residents and businesses is that internet service in Valley Center is unreliable and too expensive. Connectivity is too slow, bandwidth is too narrow, and the monthly bills are too high. City staff also deal with slow internet services as well. Last fall, City Administrator Clark and I were able to start a discussion with a new internet provider that is expanding its footprint in our state and region. They already have started building out their internet services in other Kansas communities such as Salina and Gardner. As city staff, we are ready to recommend approving the right-of-way agreement with Clearwave Fiber and providing an additional option for internet service to the community. To this end, I am proud to introduce Kayla Maxfield with Clearwave Fiber. She will discuss her company's background and how her company will bring affordable and reliable high-speed internet to Valley Center. Kayla?
What a question now.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Schrack. Would you like to come to all of the presentations I do? Because that was a wonderful introduction.
We can
So-
talk about a contract.
Yes, perfect. Mayor and Council for taking the time this evening. Ryan did a great job. I've worked a lot with Ryan and Brent, and they've been great to work with. But we are Clearwave Fiber, and we are a telecommunications company looking to bring a fiber to the home, fiber to the business connection. Having an all fiber network really gives your community reliability and speed. Also, we're gonna be able to give your residents, like Ryan had said, a new option for their telecommunications. So we are Clearwave Fiber. We own and operate 100% of our network. And we are excited to come to Valley Center and present another option for your residents. And I'm not sure who's running the, oh, nice. Okay, I was gonna say that was, yeah. So you can just keep going, yeah. So we are formed early in 2022. We're a collaboration of Hargrave Fiber, which is based in the Southeast, in the Georgia area. So we have some network in Georgia and Florida, and then Clearwave Communications, which was in Illinois, and then also RG Fiber, which was a provider in Baldwin City, Kansas. We've merged all those together to form Clearwave Fiber. We do have financial backing of several large corporations, including Cable One, GTCR, Stevens Capital, and the Fight Score organization. So we understand that building an all fiber network is a sizable capital investment into the community. That is one thing that separates us from some of the others. We're not asking for any match funding. We're not seeking any grants at this time. We want to come in and just provide the service to the community. So something like I had touched on, millions of dollars will be invested in the community. We do have a consistent track record of building several areas right now. Like Ryan had alluded to, currently we're building Salina, Gardner, Kansas, just finished Spring Hill, Kansas, and Lansing, Kansas. And we have several others on the radar here in the central part of the state. What's really exciting for Valley Center is you guys will be one of the first ones in this area surrounding Wichita to get started should you approve the right-of-way agreement this evening. So that will be, that really puts you guys forward. And fiber optics are different than any other technology. I always describe it as like a 4-lane highway versus maybe a low maintenance road or just a 2-lane highway. It's the latest and greatest. It provides synchronous service, which is the same download and upload speed. How that translates into how that can help your residents and your businesses. Just having that consistent, reliable speed can allow your residents to have telehealth appointments, business, where I was going with that. Telehealth, on homeschooling or online schooling, at-home work, all of those things that we saw, the pandemic really showed us that having good, reliable bandwidth is extremely important to every community. So those are just the fun little graphics that we have there between DSL, cable, and fiber. So one thing with Clearwave Fiber, we believe in a different management approach. I actually live in Emporia, Kansas, so I'm just right down the road. Our headquarters will be in Gardner, Kansas. We do believe in really being centralized in the community, and we want to invest in your community as well. Love Main Street. I do have an idea for that tree lighting thing too. You could auction off the flip of the switch. You could maybe raise some money. That's a good idea. Thought about. Oh, right. He's holding that one.
I would have given it up anyhow as soon as they haven't asked me yet, but I was already going to turn it down and say that's not part of me. I shouldn't have to do
That's
that.
a
I
great
don't want to
idea.
do that one.
So yeah, so we'd love to be involved in your chambers, your schools. We'll have local technicians. So really, we believe in that managing not from afar, but having a local presence. That's something that we strive to do and that we're proud of. So a few of the things that we do is really try to inform your residents also of who we are and what we're going to be doing. So before construction even begins, we would love to do a press release if we could maybe get a quote from the mayor or somebody from city staff about our partnership. We'd really love that. And then we'll do door hangers to let your residents know. We'll put signs out in yards letting them know this is who is constructing right now. If you have any questions, this is who you need to call. If you have questions about service, this is who you need to contact. Really just to let your residents know who is digging here or who is in my yard, because we understand that construction can be a disruption. So our goal is to make sure that we inform your residents and then get out and get in and get out fast and make sure that it's clean and done well. So that was a quick overview. I'll open it up for questions if anybody has any.
Have one so far. Councilmember Kerstetter.
Can you go back up one slide? So my first comment is yes, please come.
Great.
That was going to be mine too, but okay.
So your timeline, when would the first house have from the approval tonight, because I'm sure that'll happen, to the first house having fiber in their house?
Which would be mine. That's how much I want these guys here. I love it.
Can we start here in this area? So we would like to section out our permits into what we call FDAs, fiber deployment areas. It's just a section of homes. We'll start with the residential first. So if everything goes well this evening, we could possibly pull our first permit on 3/15. Our engineering team is finishing up the final mapping. So I would say most FDAs, and this is all pending weather and all the other things that come into factor, but hopefully we could have, service to some residents as early as May
Oh,
to start. We will, as we turn up a neighborhood, or an FDA, we'll go ahead and allow those residents to go ahead and sign up for service and get service as we're still constructing the other. We won't come in and try to just build the whole town and then provide the service. We'll do it as we go.
What, I'm sure this is other people are thinking, what's your competitiveness to like what Cox and AT&T have now?
Great question. So as far as pricing, we're very competitive. I will say as far as service, we're second to none because we're able to offer the same download and upload speed and a full gig of service. However, for instance, on our lowest package, it's 250 meg download and upload. That's $65 a month. 500 meg is $75 a month, all the way up to a gig, which is $85 a month. We have no, okay.
Can you start yesterday?
Same bill that you, when I first met with him and he showed me their bill, I was like, oh, okay. So, and we have no contracts, no installation fees, unlimited usage. So we're not, it's our job to do a good job for the residents. We're not going to hold them into a contract and then jack their rates up. So,
Perfect.
yes.
I need to clear up the comment about me first. The reason I said that is because I've lived in this house since 2002, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get DSL. All my only choice is Cox right now. I have in the past, I have not yet talked to the newest AT&T guy who really wants to talk to me to find out why I don't have DSL. In my mind, I'm thinking you should know why I don't have DSL capabilities, but I'm an IT guy, and when he started mentioning this to me a while back, I was almost foaming at the mouth to be able to have gig up and down. I work from home.
Mm-hmm.
I've got kids that play on the internet. We got family, we like to stream televisions, and as far as Cox goes, it's not very reliable. I'm sure you might hear that from Councilmember Bass here when I switch over, let him have his time to speak. But I can tell you in business, fiber is definitely, the way to go. And this is going to be a huge benefit to the citizens of Valley Center. For those that aren't in the IT world, trust me on this one. It was funny when Ryan mentioned the the cellular companies, offering home internet. What they don't tell you is it's no faster than what you get on your phones. It's all it is. It's a repeater that sits in your house, and it cracks me up when I see these commercials, because it's like, why? Unless, they're offering it dirt cheap. So that is the only thing that I could see, but you're not getting speeds. I have lobbied to Cox to say, hey, you need to up your change your upload speeds, because for one, like I said, I work from home, but I also do a lot of remote back into my house. So that upload is what affects my response when I'm not here. And, I got nowhere because they don't have the competition. I guarantee you, you will start seeing changes in Cox's business plan once you become more popular.
Yeah.
So
That's very common. Yep.
So, all right. I'm not sure which one of you two, so I'm just going to go right to left. Councilmember Bass.
So we moved here in 2013 and we had AT&T. That's just what I had used at our old house, and it was 20 megabytes per second. And I had that for the longest time. And then COVID hit and all the kids are at home. I work from home 4 days a week, and it just wasn't enough. So then we switched to Cox, which at least once or twice a month, I'm having to use my mobile hotspot on my phone to connect to my laptop. It's just a kind of a nightmare. So this is welcome news. One question I have is data usage. Is there a limit? Because there was no limit with AT&T. Cox has, I keep going over, and I finally had to change my plan up. So there's no data limit.
There is not.
Okay.
Some companies will say that they don't have those, but then they ask you to go to a different plan, or they
Oh.
charge you usage fees. There is
Okay.
not with us. Nope, it's
Awesome.
unlimited data all the time.
Awesome. And then what is the difference between the technology that Cox uses and what you guys use?
Sure. So what Cox does, I'm suspicious they probably have done that here in Valley Center, is sometimes they'll claim that they have fiber. So they'll put fiber in the backbone of their network. So essentially they'll put it in the large areas, and then, but still the service or the line going to your home is still a cable. So what that does is, they can put all the speed in the fiber right here, but you're still getting that cable service going to your home. So you're unable to get the same download and upload speeds. It's not as reliable. It's a copper wire. With us, we're going to bring that fiber all through the entire city, all the way to every home. So you'll have your own bandwidth. It doesn't matter. Also, I should mention that Cox is on a shared service. That's why they charge you usage fees. I should have taken this big old wad of gum out of my mouth before I got up here to talk. Sorry, guys. So they charge a little bit more because they say, oh no, Mr. Bass is home. He's using a lot of bandwidth. Well, we need to make sure that we can get Mr. Cirillo's home enough bandwidth. So we're going to charge him more usage fees because they have to basically divvy up their bandwidth. With fiber, it's unlimited. Every home has unlimited amount of speed, and more speed than you could ever need. So
awesome.
There's a saying in the world of IT when it comes to networks, and your network is only as fast as your slowest link.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes off of what she was talking about. Yeah. I do think because my neighborhood is fairly newer, I believe that you're right. The lines that run through the easement are fiber.
Yeah.
But then it goes to their converter and it's coax to the houses. So, but yes, that's the old adage. Your system is only as fast as your slowest link. So
I spent 3 months calling them to get someone to come out. And then finally we lost power, and then we had no internet. And then they finally sent someone out, and just one trip I had, my internet got a lot better. So for three to 6 months, I had pretty poor internet that made my job real difficult. So This is really welcome news.
And one thing with Clearwave Fiber, our stance and our business model is a little bit different than some of the others. We know that the larger companies have invested putting an all fiber network into the Wichitas or the Kansas Cities, the Google Fibers, but really the communities our size, same as I live in Emporia, we really kind of been left behind. We're not extremely rural, so we don't have a lot of grant opportunities, or companies aren't doing that. We're kind of middle of the road. So really that's the focus of the size communities and the areas that Clearwave is focusing on.
Awesome.
Councilmember Stam.
I want to reiterate what everyone's already said, but I have one question, and I hope you say no. You guys aren't in Emporia, are you? For service?
Clearwave Fiber is not in Emporia.
Okay, because my son lives there, and it is horrible.
And he has ValueNet Fiber in Emporia?
Yes.
Let's talk.
It's horrible.
Okay. That's interesting. because
Yeah,
it's an all fiber network. So
it's horrible. Okay, that makes me
I
feel
still have
better.
some very strong connections with ValueNet, so I will make sure that your son's connection is better.
Okay.
I will email you tomorrow. Yes.
And then also I have a question on the motion. It says regarding right-of-way access. Should we be right-of-way and easement? Because surely they're not just going to be in the right-of-ways. They're going to be behind houses and the easements also. That should probably include easements.
Good catch.
I'm a city guy.
I know. Should that?
This is based upon the agreement that we have with Salina and Salt. Do you think we need?
So, I mean, it's a language, I can't remember off the top of my head if that language is even in the actual agreement itself. Is the agreement in front of us? That's a very good question.
I mean, it's
Yeah, 'cause-
fuel, but still.
Right.
You're right. Right, because, you know, it like, I think of my house, you know, the right of way is the front X amount, but yet I've got a 30-foot easement that I share with my back.
Right.
And not knowing how you're going to trench, I don't know how that wording would really be effective or not effective if we don't include it. That might be a good idea.
So we could pass this resolution tonight. We want to move forward.
And amend, and just say with an amendment,
If we find out we feel we need that.
is that we good with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Covers the basis.
okay.
Absolutely.
So you want to make the motion then? Mr. Stam?
Who, what?
Who, what? You want to make the motion?
Motion to approve resolution 730-23 regarding right-of-way access to Clearwave Fiber.
Second.
With, we need an add to.
Third.
I know we're all excited, guys, but let's get the wording right, okay?
With
Pending the change, pending the,
pending review.
not pending.
No, what is it?
What do we want to?
Well, and
we-
so
okay.
really, you know, when you use easements, and those, I mean, it's for any utilities. And so, I mean, you know, the language in there, you know, with right-of-way agreement is more stating the fact that, you know, we're allowing them to use the right-of-way following the same procedures and permitting. That's the big thing, is making sure that it states that they have to follow the same guidelines as everybody else. The real big difference in this one is they're not subject to the franchise fee at the 5%.
Okay.
And so the easement is for any utility. I don't think that it has to specifically state that it has to be, you know, approved to use easements, since easements are for utilities as long as they're approved by the same process as right of way. So,
Okay.
I mean, it'd
So
be
you're
fun
saying,
for this to
what you're trying to say here is the definition of an easement is the right of way for utilities. Okay. All right.
And
Then it's
so
fine.
that's what I would, I mean, that's what I would
Okay.
say.
But I'm no lawyer. That's all I'm saying.
I did not submit a Holiday Inn Express. So
So, okay, I will go with this motion as it stands. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Yes, 18 to however many hands we've got. Thank you. 6-0. All right. Move on to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Moving on to staff reports. Mr.
All right, this is
Schrack.
my final time up here tonight. Again, would like to thank everyone who has already signed up to help work the city's home show booth. Again, the home show is next week, Thursday through Sunday. I did want to share with council that I do still have openings between 3 and 7 on Saturday, March 4th, and 11 to 1 on Sunday. So again, if you have time and would like to come work the home show, just let me know. But again, also thanks to everyone in the community that did submit materials for our gift bags. We'll be handing out gift bags like we do every year that feature information about Valley Center, as well as raffling off a Valley Center gift basket. So we'll do that Facebook Live drawing like we do every year. So stay tuned and watch our video. Thank you.
Mr. Owings.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. A couple of project updates to bring you up to speed on. Over at the Valley Center Swimming Pool, the project continues over there. They're nearly done doing the sandblasting on the vessel of the pool, if not complete. And they have started cutting into the vessel itself, replace to where They're going to be replacing a lot of the cracked areas, the areas that around the expansion joints that needed to be replaced. And that's been interesting to watch them cut that out. I mean, in big old massive chunks and haul that out of there. So we're excited. Those problem areas will soon hopefully be resolved for the upcoming years of life of that pool. Secondly, something to bring your attention to, if you haven't traveled out by the 85th Street entry sign, today we started, I mentioned last council meeting, we're going to be planting trees out in that area. We had our first few delivered today. We had three oaks delivered out there, so we're excited. It's going to start shaping the area out there and really addressing that entry point up in town. The remainder of them should be sometime next week, is kind of what I've been told. So weather permitting, of course. But
Do we have where we've gotten with the illumination, lighting that sign up? I know there was we were working on some issues. I don't remember what it was.
the lighting of that, the sign, it's on order. It's been scheduled with our contractor. We're slated for, I think it was early to mid-March, and then the lights themselves were coming a little later. There was some delay in ordering those. I mean, there's a big lead time on those, so that's coming soon thereafter. Roughly a month in between. So they're going to be setting that service up and getting that done, and then the landscape, of course, will come shortly thereafter that.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Wilson has a question.
Well, yeah, Mayor stole one of my questions, but who's providing the trees, Neil? I hadn't heard who was providing the trees.
So we worked with some different vendors, got pricing from our local ones as Pierpoint, and then Robertson. Exactly the formal name of Robertson Tree Spading Company. Anyways, they've got a local tree farm here. We're using a majority of the trees that we're getting are coming from him, but we also purchased some from a vendor up in Heston called Shaneke Tree Farms, and he has a really nice tree farm as well, and just kind of mixed and matched to find the best prices.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Not to rush the rest of you, but City Administrator Clark just went outside, so the faster we get past this, the Chief Newman. Mr. Eggleston.
I don't know. I'll stand for questions on my staff report. I will say, we had a little discussion up there, and even with all the change orders and delays, they're moving along out there. Several of those pictures in that staff report are already obsolete. They're paving in Cedar Ridge, they're paving in Arbor Valley. We had a really, really good water inspection, public water supply inspection with KDHE. Big shout out to Ron Ekstrom, Wade Gaylord, and Katie Lechner. They took care of that, knocked it out of the park. We only had one little thing we needed to work on, and they're already almost done with that. So, you'll recall we started into a project for a new GIS. We're quickly approaching completion on that. We've had a couple of training sessions. We've had training with Park Public Building, some admin. We have training scheduled for tomorrow and Thursday. We've already identified several different areas of utilities that were not in our maps or in our old GIS that are now in our new GIS. I'm hoping very soon that we'll be able to do a presentation for you guys on some of the really nifty little things that are going to come along with it. So,
Great. Thank you, sir.
bet.
Mr. Shear, Mr. Arbuckle, Mr. Smith, he made it back. Mr. Clark.
Well, just for that, I might even go longer, Mayor. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, we'll move on to governing body reports.
I had to run out and catch Kayla because she said, that they're going to be involved in the community. And so, Chris, I want to make sure that she knew we're still taking donations for phase 2, which includes the speakers for the lights downtown. So I want to make sure to get Clearwave on that list. Also, too, we have a very, very big special day coming up. So next Tuesday, it's someone's birthday. Council member Kurt Setter.
Just another day.
Just another day in paradise. So happy early birthday, and I'll stand for any questions.
I don't see any.
Thank you.
We'll move on to governing body reports. I have one item. I am a part of a mayor's email list that comes out. And normally I get emails about the state legislature and what they're doing and things that appear not to be good. Currently, this email I received just earlier this evening is talking about a Senate bill that's been passed out of committee that will give the option to a candidate that runs for an election in a local nonpartisan government, the option to put a party affiliation next to it. Okay. The one thing I've always felt strongly about in this, as I've been on this governing body, is the lack of that we work as one, regardless of what we may think or of our parties or what parties we may vote for. A couple of the items that they mentioned here are extremely kind of important to me because if this law gets passed, the Hatch Act prohibits any federal employee from running in a partisan election. So if I was to run again and put my party affiliation, that would make this election partisan, and that would eliminate anybody that actively works for the federal government to be able to run against me. It also prohibits, the Department of Defense also prohibits any active military from doing the same thing. This is just a bad piece of legislation. So because this just came out today, all I'm asking is if you agree that this is a bad piece of legislation, to please email Senator McGinn, since this is going to go through the Senate before it gets to the House, and express your concerns. It is Senate Bill 210 that we're talking about here. So I'm just asking that we all write her. She is very receptive to governing body's comments. I've talked to her on multiple occasions about things, and she takes it to heart when she hears from governing body members. So that's all I had.
If that bill passes, you would have my immediate resignation.
Right. And you were in mind. I mean, yes, you would be one of the people that would be affected. I mean, you wouldn't have to be forced to do that, right? But you couldn't run again if somebody that ran against you decided to be a partisan candidate.
A lot of gray area.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of gray area and a lot that our state legislators do. And then it usually takes them another 2 to 3 years to fix all their mistakes when they pass laws. And I'm not ashamed to say it. That happens. I've seen it happen way too many times. So, all right. Councilmember Stam.
I have nothing.
Councilmember Bass.
Nothing for me.
Councilmember Gregory.
I just want to thank all of our employees. I saw Mr. Owings out there planting trees by himself this morning. I was impressed. You all do such a great job for the city. Thank you.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
We might warn Clearwave Fiber to be careful of sprinkler systems in his neighborhood. They don't like them being messed with.
Well, that's fine if they go to that's what the other thing about the easements, that's kind of important too. So, but you're right, they don't.
No.
Councilmember Wilson.
I'm good, sir.
And Councilmember Colbert.
Well, since you already talked about one item on legislative, skip that one, but you have SB 47 passing regulations on containers, bags, straws, and many other things. You'll be happy to know that they did not pass that ruling. Contact committee members for the telecom franchise, House Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunication, KSA 171902. That amendment proposed by Cox Cable is, in their testimony, have the effect of eliminating telecom franchise fees. You might want to check that 1902 out and see what you think of it on that there. I did have one other thing what I was going to do. I didn't bring it. Okay. Other than that, if there's no other business before the council, I'll make a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
Second? I have a motion, a second to adjourn. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting adjourned.